To register the BumperBot interface class as a plugin of the ros2 control library and consequently as an hardware interface, we need to import the plugin lib module. And so actually we can do it here at the end of the file. So let's include the plugin lib like this. And from this module, let's import the class list macros.hpp. And at the end of this script, we can use the macro that we have just imported, plugin lib export class, so this macro here, and we can use this one in order to register the BumperBot interface class. So we have inserted the BumperBot interface class within the BumperBot firmware namespace, and so the class is called BumperBot interface, and also we have to set that this is an implementation of the hardware interface and of the system interface class. Actually, here we don't need the semicolon. And also let's make some more adjustments. So if we go here in the onActivate function, here we have a wrong initialization of the velocity commands, position state and velocity states. As we can see that these vectors now have 4 elements, but instead we just need 2 of them. So we just need a size of 2 for these vectors because we want to indicate just the velocity commands, the position state and the velocity state for the right and for the left wheel of the robot. So we just need 2 elements for this vector. Also, in order to be more efficient and also in order to work and be compatible with the ros2 control library, here every time that we have used the at function, instead of using the at function, we can just access like this to the element of the vectors, so to the element of the vector joints. And so whenever we have accessed the joints with the at function, let's instead access directly to these vectors. So we can do here as well, and also here. So we can save this script. Additionally, in order to register this class as a ros2 control plugin, we also need to add a new file inside the BumperBot firmware package. So let's create a new file and let's call this one BumperBot interface.xml. So we are going to use an XML file in order to define this plugin. So let's start by saying that we want to install the library like this, and the path, so like this, is the BumperBot firmware package. And then in this namespace we have defined a class like this, and the class, so the name of the class, is from the BumperBot firmware namespace. We have called the class BumperBot interface like this. And then let's also set the type. So here let's set the type of this class, and this is still from the BumperBot firmware namespace. The type is the name of the class, and so the BumperBot interface class like this. Also, we need to specify which is the base class. So let's specify here, still in the class tag, the base class type like this, and the base class type is from the hardware interface, is the system interface class like this. Let's also add a small description. So here within the class, let's add the tag description, and here let's simply indicate that this is the BumperBot hardware interface, so that we know what is this when we are going to use this plugin. Let's conclude this lesson by declaring the new dependencies that we have just added to the BumperBot firmware package, and also by installing the BumperBot interface library, so this plugin here that we have just registered as a ros2 control plugin. To achieve this, let's go to the cmakelist.txt, and here let's add a new find package instruction in order to declare the usage of the hardware interface library. Also, we have used the plugin lib library, and also we have used the RCL CPP lifecycle like this, and then also we have used the lib serial, so this is already there, so this is fine. And now we can add a new library, so we can go here with the add library instruction, and let's call this library as the package itself. So the name of the package is in this variable, so is in the project name variable. So let's add a library that is called as the package itself, and now let's make this library shared, and also let's indicate where is the source code of this library, and this is in the source folder, so src, and is called bumperbot interface.cpp. So this is where the source code of our library is. Then let's also set the dependencies of this library with the target include directories, and so still for this library, so for the one that is called as the project itself, and so bumperbot firmware, let's add some private dependencies from the include folder, as we have declared the HPP file, so the header file in the include folder. Also for this library, we have used the serial library, and so also in this case we need to add the serial include directories, as we have done, for example, for the simple serial transmitter and for the simple serial receiver. So let's also add these dependencies here from the serial library, and now we also need to add another instruction that is the target link libraries like this, and so still for the library that we are creating, so the one that is called as the package itself like this, let's add still the dependencies from the libserial library, and so as we have done also, for example, for the simple serial transmitter, let's add these dependencies here. So the serial LD flex. Now let's also add another tag, so here, that is the amend target dependencies. Again, for the library that is called as the package itself, so for the one called bumperbot firmware, let's add the dependencies, so the list of all the packages that we have used. And so let's start from the hardware interface, then we have also used the plugin lib, then we have also used the RCL CPP, and then the RCL CPP lifecycle library, and then let's close this one. And this is the list of all the dependencies that we have used for this library, so that this library needs in order to properly compile. And now we can finally register this library as a ros2 plugin. So here, before the install statement, let's use the instruction plugin lib export plugin description file, so this very long instruction, and let's export as an hardware interface plugin the bumperbot interface.xml file that we have created in this lesson. So this file here that specifies that our bumperbot interface class is a plugin, so is an hardware interface that belongs to the ros2 control library. And now we can also install this library, so the library that we have just created, with another install instruction. And so the target in this case is the project name, so the library, we have called the entire library as the project itself, so bumperbot firmware, and the destination in which you want to install this library is the lib folder. Then, as we have created the header file within the include folder, so if you remember here in the include folder, we have created the header file with the declaration of all the functions and also all the members, so all the variables of the bumperbot interface class. We also need to install this folder, so the include folder. So let's install the directory include, so the include folder, and we want to install this one, so the destination is the corresponding include folder, so we also want to install this one in the include folder. Then at the end of the file, so here before the ament package, let's use the ament export include directories, and so let's export the directory include also, and then we can also use another instruction that is the ament export libraries in order to export and so to make available the library that we have created and that we have called bumperbot firmware, so as the package itself, in order to make it available to all the other packages that want to use it. And also, let's also specify which are the dependencies of this library. So in order to use this library with the ament export dependencies like this, and we're going to need the hardware interface and then also the plugin lib, then the RCL CPP, and then the RCL CPP lifecycle library. So that's it for the cmakelist.txt file. So we have installed the library bumperbot interface, and now let's just update the file package.xml with all the new dependencies that we have declared. So let's add a dependency from the hardware interface, then let's also add another dependency from the RCL CPP lifecycle, and then another dependency from the plugin lib, and finally we also need the lib serial, and we have already declared this library. Let's save also this file, and let's conclude this lesson by building the workspace in order to compile the new library and so to verify that actually we have not made any mistake both in the code and also in the installation of this library. So let's go to the workspace and let's build it. As there are no errors, it means that the library was successfully compiled, and so in the next lesson we can move on and start using it.